While Chris is getting that ready, I would point out to you when I was down at USD last week, the two most common questions I got from the classes that were in the senior seminar series were Canada goose depredation and how much we've got invested in that, and Asian carp as an invasive species. Those are the two most common questions from those students. There's 50 in one class and 41 in the other class.
Okay, this won't take too long. I do have a video at the end I wanted you to see. That's why we're doing the PowerPoint. But this project, along with Secretary Cooper's remarks, I think it does show that we are making some headway with our public education efforts with Asian carp. The way this thing took off, grew legs, I think reflects well on us and what we're trying to do. And we're still in a phase where public education is really our primary tool of stopping or slowing the spread of these fish. But the Vermillion middle school kids, the 8th grade science class, they took on this project and have done a fantastic job with it. It was the Samsung Corporation, a technology group. They make cameras and computers and things. They recognized the problem in America where our children are lagging behind in science education. I mean, it's obvious. You've all heard about that. Samsung decided to put up $2 million worth of their own equipment to try to raise awareness and interest in science and math in the form of a contest for middle school kids. And that's where Vermillion came in. $2 million worth of technology equipment would be given away to the classes that came up with the best ideas, allowing them to both learn more about science and help educate others about scientific issues. Vermillion got involved with this in September. The science teacher there asked her students if they would be interested in trying to participate in this contest. She let them take the initiative, take the lead. They said, yes, let's do it. We need computer equipment, and they do after spending a day there. I can tell you they need it badly. She sent the kids home with an assignment to come back the next day with some ideas about local science-based issues that are a problem right here in South Dakota. Several kids came back and said Asian carp are a problem and we need an answer for this. The class took a vote on all the ideas. The Asian carp idea won hands down. So again, that reflects well on the public education work we've been doing. So they decided to go with Asian carp. They wrote a proposal for researching the problem and sharing what they learned with the public and especially with kids at their own grade level. They submitted that to Samsung. It was approved, and Vermillion was chosen as South Dakota's winner for this contest. With that, they received about $10,000 worth of equipment, specifically video production equipment that they were to use to ultimately produce a public education video that would be part of their entry in the next level of the contest. After their proposal was accepted, the first thing they did was arrange a field trip with my crew on the river at Yankton. Luckily, we got a beautiful day because this was December, and we're talking about taking middle school kids out on the boat on short notice. And that worked out well because if we could not have taken them out that one day, this was a requirement for their grant, the entire project would have gone away. So fortunately, we were able to get clearance from Gino, who was on vacation on short notice, to take these kids out, and it basically saved the day for this project. On that field trip, we showed them some different gears and nets, spent about 4 or 5 hours, and it was the very last net of the day, a gill net. We got to the end of that net, and we pulled in the fish you see there. Prior to that, there had been about nothing. The water was cold, no fish were moving. We got this one big head carp, and I have never seen people so excited about an Asian carp as these kids were. That was fortunate. We brought it in, we showed them a lot of different things. They were measuring and weighing and poking and prodding this fish, and they actually asked me if they could take it back with them in their minivan to show the other kids in Vermillion, and sure enough they did. And not only the science class was out looking at that fish the next day, the teacher told me the entire middle school gathered around that fish several times. They had presentations. We definitely reached a lot of kids that day. After our field trip, the teacher tells me their interest really picked up. They brought in guest speakers, myself, I spent a day there. Fish and Wildlife Service had a person there. The Park Service did. SDSU had a speaker. The kids were just gaining information, learning about this problem, coming up with a plan for sharing the information with the public. They took field trips to SDSU and to the hatchery at Yankton. Then they went on into the public education phase. They did a lot of radio interviews. They actually spoke at the Vermillion City Council meeting. They were in several newspapers. In the last few days, I've seen them on all 3 local TV networks now. And they, along with that, were producing the video that they would use to submit further into the contest. So we got a lot of mileage out of this project as far as public education went, and the kids did all the legwork along the way. They definitely learned a lot. They also created Facebook and Twitter pages where they shared a lot of information using social media, trying to reach their younger peers. So they went from one of 50 state winners that got $10,000 worth of equipment. Based on the work they did, they were chosen as one of 15 finalists to go to the next phase. So they got another $35,000 worth of technology equipment for that, including new laptops for their classrooms. When I went down and taught with them for a day, the laptop they used to run the presentation was missing at least 5 keys. That was the classroom computer. And several shiny new Samsung laptops have come since then, thanks to these kids' work. So it's pretty neat to see. But the 15 finalists last week all went to Austin, Texas to present their project and show their video in front of a panel of judges and the public. There's a photo of the 2 children they chose to do the presentation, and the teacher said they were incredibly nervous. You can see right before they went on, there's a photo. So I have not heard how it went. The actual winners will be announced a week from today. Of those 15, 5 of them are going to get $140,000 worth of equipment. So it really is significant to a school, and hopefully they end up winning. Great project. It was cool that the kids got to choose their own topic and lead the way, and they chose Asian carp. They learned about all invasive species. I taught a lecture on all invasive species, not just Asian carp. We talked about Missouri River ecology, bigger picture stuff. We might have reached a couple of those kids that someday could be up here in front of a commission a decade from now. They gave us a lot of free public education, more carp press down there at ground zero for the Asian carp problem is great for the game fish and parks. They got to see different sides of fisheries research, from the field to the lab to the hatchery. Of course, all the equipment they have won has been great. And they gave us at Game Fish and Parks a good opportunity for some great community outreach. I really like working with kids. They're still, untainted and willing to listen. They don't see us biologists and GF&P as all a bunch of bozos yet, full of bad ideas. And maybe we reach a few when we do something like this. So, very nice project. And I do have a little 3-minute video they put together. I'm not sure if this is the one that won them the final 15, but I haven't actually seen it.
Over 200 years ago, President Thomas Jefferson sent Lewis and Clark on a scientific expedition past this very location. 200 years later, we stand in the footsteps of Lewis and Clark and are challenged again with a new expedition and a new scientific journey that are beyond what even Lewis and Clark could have imagined. This super species of invasive fish called Asian carp eats, grows, and reproduces in ways that are superior to our native fish species, including the endangered pallid sturgeon.
We calculate that Asian carp can produce 146 to 436% more eggs than an endangered pallid sturgeon.
This picture is just a sliced open carp that I wanted to show the giant masses of eggs they produce. Well, at least it stopped with a good model on the screen there, so that's all right. That's all right. We'll just. It was only another minute or so, but really nice project for Game Fish and Parks to be involved with, and it's good for us biologists to get into a classroom once in a while like that. I'd sure do more of it if we were asked, and I'm going to look into taking this lecture to the other schools in the area. So, any questions? Yeah, that was pretty good, huh?
Very cool.
All right, thank you.
Can't pass on this opportunity. I've got one more thing to add here. Again, I'm going to go back to the documents. And that one section on professional excellence, you that may have read that and looked at. There's a banner in the bottom of it that sums everything up. It says Wildlife Division staff define the identity of the Wildlife Division. Here's a definition of our agency. That's what one person, one staff, critically important to our agency. And what people, how people view us. Could pass on the application. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, we'll keep on going here, and the fisheries management plans, number 39.